What's poppin', y'all? Brand new episode of Pregaming Pigskin. We're back for another one with my man running the ones and twos, Kyle Edwards. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm good. Good. Can't complain. How you guys doing?
I'm phenomenal. In my upper right corner, I got the THEEGODFREY, the Godfrey. What's
What's up,
poppin',
everyone?
Godfrey? How you feeling?
Doing okay, man. Football on the on the come up, man. I mean, I can't wait for the week to start, and yeah, can't complain.
And I'm your guy, the NFL genius, wire to wire Gene Walzak. I'm feeling great this week. We gotta I listen, like before I give you my quick opinion, what do y'all feel of this game tonight? Titans, Packers.
Could be an interesting matchup only because we know what the Titans want to do. That's run the ball with Derrick Henry. And then with Green Bay, it's going to be all about, was the Cowboys win the start of something? Was it just a blip on the radar and they're going to go back to their losing ways tonight? It's kind of a toss up to me because, like I said, both teams, you don't know really what you're going to get because we don't know the quarterback position with the Titans. Big question mark. Willis, Tannehill, Willis. Uh, although I think it might end up being pretty entertaining for some reason.
Godfrey, what you think about this game tonight?
I think this game is gonna actually be a surprise shootout. When I say that, it's gonna go over 40 in my opinion. 40 and a half right now is the total I'm seeing, and the Titans are banged up in the secondary. They have nobody in the secondary, so they have a razor thin margin for error. They not have to run. They don't have to run the ball. They have to dominate and run the ball in Green Bay to control this whole game because I think Alan Lazard is going to have a big night. I don't know if Christian Watson has the same performance as last week. I don't know if that's going to be a consistent performance from him, but I would tell you that their secondary is easily taken advantage of, and I think the Packers are going to come out passing. They're going to pass to AJ Dillon. They're going to pass to more to Aaron Jones, and you're going to see a lot of. I think you're going to see a lot of deep balls. They've given up a lot of deep ball production. The Titans have, so I think this is a sneaky over, and I think it's going to be more offense than people think.
I think this is going to be a lot better of a game than we've seen in recent weeks on Thursday Night Football. I mean, coming off the Falcons Carolina game, which was absolutely tragic. Like I watched that game on the All 22. That was so bad. Last Thursday, I wanted to go see Black Panther, so I didn't watch the game live. I got to watch it back. I didn't have to deal with any of the commentating in between. But man, that was a bad football game. Awful.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a surprisingly good football game. And call me an optimist. Call me someone that's a little optimistic about Thursday Night Football. But I think you're starting to see the Packers offense look a little better, look more like the Packers offense. You're starting to see Mike Ray, how good of a coach Mike Rabel is, man. I wish that Mike Rabel could be given, well, I don't wish, but I would love to see Mike Rabel be given the ingredients that the Eagles were given for him to coach the Titans, because it's like the guy that can make a great meal out of like some hot dogs and some old ass mac and cheese, and he just makes a great meal out of it. Makes a 5-star meal with really bad ingredients. I think this is a good football game. I really believe that. And Brett brings up a great point. Jeffrey Simmons tied for second with the Titans in sacks is questionable as well. If he's out, that could be huge. And I don't think he's going to play. I think he's trending towards not playing. But what's popping? Jeremy B, how you feeling? I actually think this is a Christian Watson coming out party. I think he came out last week, and I think it continues happening this week. I think the reason he was drafted so high is because he's an absolute talent, and he needed time to develop. Week one, you threw him in there, he dropped that huge pass. His confidence was shook. He had a great interview afterwards, man. He's like, I make that catch 99 times out of 100. He's like, and I would have said 100 out of 100 if I didn't drop that one. He looked confident this past week. 3 touchdowns on 4 receptions. And I think this week you see even more of it. I think you might see an 8 reception, 147 yards, 2 touchdown game for Christian Watson. Sounds crazy, sounds nuts, but I'm telling you, this Packers team just looked better. But you know what made them look better versus Dallas? They ran the football.
Yep.
They ran the football. Running the football is just something that's, I don't know why these teams become allergic to running the football. I really don't get it.
I think they panic when they get down. They abandon the run too early. That, you know, I've seen that a lot over the years. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why they're like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna get away from what works, because we're scared we won't have enough time to come back. I just think panic sets in and people don't stick to the game plan.
And you know, Brett said it perfectly. 6'5", 4'3", 40, and a 39-inch vertical. His athletic tools to be an absolute menace. Jeremy B says Christian Watson could be great. I still say the verdict is out. I agree with him. The verdict is definitely out. Like I think I would sway a little bit more to not being great than to being great. Concentration issues, route running. I don't care how much of an athletic freak you are. You know who's an athletic freak? Dorial Green Beckham.
Yep.
He was an athletic freak.
Yeah.
But if you can't run routes and your concentration level's not where it needs to be at, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I think this kid's starting to finally put it together. He seems like a really good kid. And I think that the Packers win this one. I think it's a close game. All Mike Rabel games are. Yep. You can count on 3 things. The Titans are going to run the football. Mike Rabel is going to yell at the referees, and they're not going to get blown out. That's almost every Titans game you've seen. But Darius Hayward-Bay is another.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the guy that comes to mind when you think athletic that just didn't pan out as a wide receiver.
He was the 8th overall pick.
Yeah.
The Raiders just, we got him.
Yeah.
We got the guy.
There was a reach at 8 too, I believe, in that draft. I was at that draft in person. And I remember Rangers fans, you know, the few there, they're like, no, like, I've been there a lot of time early on when it was at Radio City Music Hall and certain bases where they just, you could hear their collective sigh of disappointment every time someone made a pick. And Raiders were definitely in every like, oh, there's the Raiders going for a speed guy again. You could just hear Al Davis in the background going, speed kills, can't teach speed. Well, Hayward-Bay was definitely not a number 8 pick in that draft.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, you've seen the evidence. They even reached for Henry Ruggs, too. I mean, I think Henry Ruggs could have been a great player. Felt terrible for the whole situation that happened, but they reach for speed. They do it often. So, yo, Brett is on fire tonight. Do the Raiders ever not reach on their picks recently? They've cut so many first-round draft picks recently. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Did you hear the story? By the way, before we're gonna wrap up the Packers Titans game with predictions, and then I'm gonna ask you guys about a funny story that just came out over the weekend. Give me a prediction for the game tonight, and then we'll get in this week at NFL. What's your prediction for the score?
Let me see. I do think the Packers probably get this one, although I'm not ready to say that the Packers have fixed any issues that they've had, but I'll go Packers 27-23.
I don't think I definitely don't think Dupree's playing tonight. I was looking at Coach's comment. Coach, yeah. I don't think Dupree's playing tonight. Jeffrey Simmons might be out, and Harold Landry might not play. So that's three guys that you listed. I don't know if they play, but Jeremy's got 24-15 Titans. What was your score prediction again, Kyle? I'm sorry, I was reading Coach's content.
27-23 Packers.
Okay, Godfrey.
Yeah, I was gonna be go 28-24 Packers.
I'll go. Oh man, 27-23 sounds so good. I think that's like so spot on, right? 24-21 Packers. I'm gonna keep it around that close scoring and around that mid-20s range. Yeah. I think this could be a weird score too, like a 26-23. Some field goals, some safeties, some missed extra points. Games in Green Bay, so wild stuff happens up in Lambeau Field.
Yeah, Randy Bullock is out. Josh Lambo is kicking for him. So I believe they signed him. So, just coming off the pine, wasn't playing anywhere. So I could totally see a kicker that's not exactly in form missing a few extra points in Lambeau.
That's not a thing, bro. Kickers are always in form, bro. When
Think
you
so?
kick, that's all you need to do. I'm kidding, but it's funny because kickers just kick. We just signed him off the practice squad. We just signed this guy 2 days ago. He's going to kick for us Sunday. It don't matter. Just kick the ball. I'll talk about a funny story, though, real quick. I used this. One of us, I think Bill used it as a "you got to be kidding me" last night. So the Raiders, who were absolute dumpster fire. But a story came out. First of all, Mark Davis said some really one of the dumbest group of comments I've ever heard in my entire life. He said that he thinks that Josh McDaniels is doing an excellent job and that Rome was not built in a day. Speaking of his first-year head coach. Do I need to remind y'all that Rich Bisaccia had that team in the playoffs last year and you added Devontae Adams to that mix?
Yeah.
Were the expectations really 2-7?
The whole division's supposed to make the playoffs.
Like, I don't understand how those comments can come out of Mark Davis's mouth until the secondary report came out that the Raiders are cash broke and they cannot afford to fire Josh McDaniels and hire another head coach.
Wow.
Like, the Vegas Raiders are cash broke and they cannot afford to hire another head coach and pay Josh McDaniels.
I believe it. Listen, if you look at Mark Davis's haircut, I believe he's cash broke because that's still the worst haircut in the history of humankind that I've ever seen in my life. And I just, I'm just going by his barber decisions. And if I'm going by that, seems like that's spread across all areas of his life, including hiring coaches. So, yeah, that is, if you guys haven't seen it out there, do yourself a favor and look up Mark Davis's haircut and you'll be like, yeah, Godfrey was right. It's awful. Just like his coaching hires.
I just can't understand. I feel terrible for the Raiders. The Raiders, they leave Oakland. They leave the black hole. They go to Vegas. They're their first NFL team venture over to Vegas. First real major sports team to go to Vegas. Screw the Golden Knights. Screw hockey. I'm talking about hockey. But first real sports team to go to Vegas and be a professional sports team. And, man, they struck out every chance they got, and they lucked into a situation with Rich Bisaccia. Like, the guys loved him, the team played for him. They're like, nah, Rich, he took us to the playoffs. No biggie. We're gonna go with let's go with Josh McDaniels. He's got a great track record of being an NFL head coach in this league. He was a great coach for the Denver Broncos. Remember?
Yeah, and if they're cash poor, you definitely could have got Rich Bisaccia much cheaper than you got Josh McDaniels. You could have probably given him a 2-year deal, maybe even a 1-year prove-it deal. He wasn't on anybody's radar as a head coach. And you just hit reset from there. But the Raiders are, for a while now, one of the worst organizations in football. And it proves it time and time again. I remember when I was a kid, Raiders were synonymous with the word excellence. 80s, 90s, and even in the early 2000s. And then since like 05, 04, it's ever since Jamarcus Russell, and that's been downhill from there. There's been a few up years here and there, but they are just, they're like a blind man playing darts. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
Well, I got a second. Speaking of money, and I gotta, we'll be the first show to actually put this on air. ESPN just put it on their website like 2 hours ago. I read it at work. But I want to read you this because I think it's absolutely hilarious. The District of Columbia's Attorney General on Thursday filed a second lawsuit against the Washington Commanders, alleging that the team has cheated its residents out of hundreds of thousands of dollars in unreturned security deposits for season ticket holders. DC Attorney General Carl Racine said in a statement that the Commanders executives engaged in egregious mismanagement and illegal conduct. The latest lawsuit alleges that the team has held on to potential refunds to season ticket holders whose contracts with them expired It claims that the team still holds nearly $200,000 in unreturned security deposits paid by DC residents. I can't with this team. I can't. I need your initial reactions.
The Raiders are doing it wrong. They should be doing the same thing. They might be able to fire Josh McDaniels. I mean,
just hold on to the cash.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a sign of two organizations that you got questions at the top who's running them. They continue to make decisions that make them laughing stocks. I mean, Snyder, like Jeremy said, he's got to go. I mean, the league doesn't need him. Sports doesn't need him. He just needs to just get as far away as he can. And with the Raiders, they can't pay McDaniels, but it's going to be another coach again. And they're going to go through the same cycle trying to hire somebody else. They'll probably hire the wrong guy again, and it'll just be in the same situation next year.
The NFL is going to get sued, and the Raiders are going to get sued by John Gruden too. And John Gruden's going to win. He shouldn't win. I understand what happened and why it happened, but he's going to win.
Yeah. So
all the emails that they have, bro, it's so embarrassing. The NFL is an embarrassment right now. It's great that the sport is awesome. Watching the games are awesome, but the people that are in charge are the biggest. In the words of my friend Jacob, that organization and the NFL is a clown show. It's a clown show.
The reason why that is it's pretty simple. A lot of times you're getting people in positions all over the organization that are part of the Good Old Boys network and not necessarily qualified for that position, right? So it makes perfect sense to me that they're a clown show that way. But I want to ask you guys a question about being a Redskin fan. In Philly, we don't like front runners. However,
do you not like? I'm not kidding with you, bro.
I mean, Commanders fans. So if you're a Commanders fan, right? At what point do you say I'm not following this team anymore? Right? I'm a diehard. I've had bad teams. I know people that have come from being Commanders fans to being Eagles fans. I'm extending that olive branch because at what point do you not buy season tickets? Do you stop supporting the team? It's hard for me to do that, but I'm fortunate because, the ownership group wants to win here, or Jeffrey Lurie does, but there's a lot of teams where you're trapped, and having a bad owner is the worst because you have very low odds of it changing. So, will we be mad at Commander fans for jumping to a different team? I wouldn't be.
This is the worst time for them to do that, though. With signs of Snyder potentially selling the team and someone like Jeff Bezos or Jay-Z picking it up, I think that would be a mistake. I think that you hang on now because, listen, if you were going to do it 3 years ago, that's fine, man. Daniel Snyder's terrible. But with signs of them selling the team, I don't.
You can come back. It's called being in exile. You can come back to your.
It's called being Freddie Henderson.
Yeah, come back.
It's called being Freddie.
Yeah, it's doing a Freddie. I like that.
By the way, I got to read this comment out because Brett is so on point. I'm sure if the Raiders started a GoFundMe to buy out McDaniels, the fans would all pitch in and they have the money in no time.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. It's going to cost you at least $2 billion, probably more, but
I'm not kidding. They're missing the boat there. Somebody in Las Vegas needs to start that GoFundMe because I'm telling you, I might start it tonight. I might steal Brett's idea, start it tonight, pretend to be a Raiders fan, and get rich off of it. Steal everyone's money.
Yeah, we get a lot of support. I mean, Raider fans are, as Godfrey said, they were once synonymous with excellence, and it's been anything but recently. In 2-7, when all preseason it was like, oh yeah, the Raiders are improved. They're a team to watch. Playoff team possibly. Now they're going to be sitting there possibly with a top 3-4 pick or something. And we all seen their track record when they draft that high. Now, it's a little different at the top who's making the decisions maybe, but they don't necessarily hit on draft picks either.
Last thing before we get to Sunday's games, just as recently as an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, the Browns versus Bills was moved. What are your thoughts on that? And let me start with mine because I'm not kidding with you. I think this is so soft, and I think that anybody around whatever they lose on ticket sales, they would gain on views on TV. Because would you not want to watch them playing 3 feet of snow? Would you not want to watch that game? A Snow Bowl? Like, is that not one of the funnest games to watch? I remember the Eagles-Lions game with Shady McCoy. And I remember that game. I remember that. Hey, Brett. So, Jeremy, you remember that game? Eagles-Lions? Shady McCoy going nuts? I remember that game.
I was at that game.
How fun was that?
It was fun, but it was a horror getting there because remember that snowstorm came by surprise.
Yeah.
And I had a Mustang at the time, or a different one, and I was on 76 trying to drive a rear road drive. Had to get off and hop the train, and I made it at the start of the third quarter. At Lane Johnson seats because that was he was a company sponsor for where I worked at, and thankfully they were under an awning. But it's fun to watch in the snow. But as the NFL team, though, don't get roasted if there's some kind of major car pileup coming to that game. And it's almost like you got to go from the liability. It would be fun to watch as a fan, but from the liability aspect, I think.
Oh God, I did not expect Godfrey to be the voice of reason.
I mean,
me be the jackass. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, listen. I mean, as much as people pay for these stadiums, I know you want people to play in the elements, but I think every stadium should have a retractable roof going forward for a situation such as this. Okay, it's going to be a blizzard, right? You can play inside. Maybe the guys, people buy hotels so they can walk over, don't have to drive. Whatever, it's a missed opportunity. I get, there's a mystique to playing in Buffalo and the snow and, Lambeau Field and all that, and I get it. But, we had it happen in Philly to 1 year, and I think that changed the season. The Michael Vick Tuesday night game against the Vikings getting beat by Joe stinking Webb.
I remember that. I'll tell you where this would never happen, bro. And Kyle will agree with me. I'll tell you what team that would never agree to give up a home game, and it would be Kyle's New England Patriots. There's no way they play in whatever weather. They're in the middle of nowhere, bro. Foxborough is like mile. Like, I'll tell you right now, if they close Foxborough down, it'd be a perfect spot for a murder because nothing is around that, right? Like nothing
at all. And
there's no way they changed that. No way.
Yeah. That's why Belichick hates London games. He hates Mexico City. He hates all that because he doesn't like giving up the home games. And I'm one of those who likes watching snow games because
who doesn't?
The Patriots
apparently.
Well, right. The Patriots have had a few, and you'll see fans throwing snowballs up in the air.
Yeah,
the atmosphere is great. But I mean, for Buffalo, where they're thinking about 4 to 6 feet of snow, it's a little extreme. So I guess I get it, but I'm one of those. If you're in a cold city and you don't have a roof on, hey, I'm for it. I feel like the nice weather games should be saved for the Super Bowl, and that's probably why a lot of these cities will probably go to a roof, so some of them can actually get the Super Bowl.
I was totally thinking that. Yep.
So, just a question. Oh my God, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy. Why you gotta cover? Why you gotta bring that up?
Broke me. He broke me. Just ask Aaron Hernandez how good of Merce like Fox. Yo, mid-show. I lost my train of thought. That was amazing. No, but question for you. All right, so Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if you think of iconic playoff moments in all of sports, you think of Stephon Diggs, the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah.
What's the next thought that comes to your mind?
Oh, for me, it's
for anybody. It's not you. I'm an Eagles fan.
Oh, well, I don't think of the Tuck Rule game in the snow.
You think it's a Tuck Rule game? I'll tell you that game, but I'm gonna go a little further. I'm not going to talk about Tuck Rule. I'm talking about the players out there wiping off the grass so Vinatieri can kick the game-winning field goal. That is iconic to me. You want to take that away?
The Patriots have a history of altering the field during snow games. This was against the Dolphins, and Don Shula went crazy. I'm pretty sure, Kyle, you know about this.
I don't want to hear about the Dolphins altering fields.
No, it's the Patriots.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't want to hear. I don't feel bad for the Dolphins at all. What they do to teams, you know what they do to teams? the shade in the sun in Miami.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
That's an absolute joke that's allowed to happen.
They brought like a snowblower out back in the day in the Patriots Dolphins playoff game and like blew the snow off where the kicker can't kick. Like literally, they're like brought a snowblower on the field. I'm like, what? Like I was probably like 5 when that game happened, but I saw it later on. I'm like, that was allowed?
Oh man,
So don't call you out for it. Might as well try it.
Why? Listen, if the Patriots have the slogan, "If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying." They have cheated so much in so many games over the years. But at the end of the day, they're great. But I'll tell you, as an Eagles fan, you'll never get that stench off me. You'll never get me not that. I love Kyle Edwards. I will always hate the Patriots. Always. I will hate the Patriots for 2004. I will hate the Patriots for that 2004 season. I'll tell you right now, you're not going to tell me Spygate wasn't real. You're not going to tell me they didn't know our plays. I watched that game over and over and over again. So much that was it Arlen Specter, the senator in PA, that filed a lawsuit against the Patriots for rigging the Super Bowl?
I mean, as a Patriots fan, I get it. I can defend some of the things, but I understand the hate that comes, our way. It's okay.
You know what the most damning thing about that is, and this is connected to the Patriots, is I can't remember the player, but there's a podcast clip going around of players talking about playing for Josh McDaniels. And he said, I was so prepared when I played for Josh McDaniels. He was like, stand here. If you don't turn your head around, it's going to hit you in the back head. There'll be an interception. This is what's going to happen at this exact spot, right? And then he got popped for cheating while he was coaching the Broncos. And he said they didn't win a game after that. And then he was fired. So then someone hires that guy as a coach. Just saying. So that totally reminded me of that because the filming, man, that was real. I mean, remember when the
Eric
former
Mangini.
That's where I was going. Mangini.
I knew you were going there. I felt
man genius. And Belichick was pissed. He's like, yo, man, what? How are you going to call me out on that? You were there when we did that. It's crazy.
He said, my favorite Patriots Pack moment is the Patriots Packers 2014 when Dan Connolly kickoff return. That was hilarious. That return was amazing.
Took it down to like the 4 or something. I really wanted him to score.
Me too. Did. It's a great clip.
Yeah. We got some fun games this week. Let's get into our Sunday 1:00s. So we kind of talked about the one. I don't want to talk about the game because the game doesn't matter. Perfect. I know exactly where I want to go here. Got my shirt.
Free Justin Fields. Yeah.
Nice.
Bought this shirt. Bears are 3-7. Justin Fields has had 2 career games. And they're both losses. I just can't. I can't with the Bears, man. I cannot. The Chicago Bears once again went down this week to the Detroit Lions, 31-30. That's on the brink of their 35-32 loss to the Miami Dolphins, and on the brink to their 49-29 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. After their 33-14 win over the Patriots, I mean, 33, 29, 32, 30. Is that the best offense in football? I'm kidding. I know it's not the best offense in football, but my point is, free Justin Fields, man. Get him out of that dog shit situation. The Bears organization is awful.
Yeah.
You have a defensive head coach in Matt Eberflus. He trades Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith. Their defense is giving up, 40 points a game the last few weeks? 35, 31, 49. That equals close to 40, right? I think it's 39 and change. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
A lot of cap room coming up next year.
So what?
So they traded Roquan Smith knowing they had that cap space. So it's like,
they traded.
What do you need all the room for?
Serious question. We talked about this last week. Serious question, though. Who is more valuable in the NFL? Roquan Smith or Chase Claypool?
Well, Roquan.
Real easy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who went for a higher second-round draft pick?
Claypool?
Yeah.
It's correct.
Yeah.
Claypool went for the Bears' second-round draft pick, and Roquan went for the Ravens' second-round draft pick. You tell me which one's going to be higher.
I mean, if you needed to know why the Bears stink, that lets you know right there.
I think they added a fifth. Wasn't it a second and fifth for Claypool?
I think so. Yeah, I think there was like a
second and fifth.
Yeah.
Do I need to? I don't want to go even further, but do you want to go back to the Mitch Trubisky trade?
Yeah. But to be fair, that was a different general manager, though.
I don't care. It's the organization. Listen, when the all right, so watch this, right? We'll play some fun for Bears fans. Who is the greatest Bears quarterback of all time?
I mean, McMahon.
Okay.
You could go Cutler. I guess he's the all-time passing leader for them, right? I mean, that's not a high bar to jump, but
for everybody that's listening, people will say, they will say McMahon, Cutler, and Fields. That's what they're saying. Okay, that's fine. That's who's the greatest Bears wide receiver of all time.
Brandon Marshall. I mean, you could go. Yeah, they're not known for the pass game, not known for the quarterback. That's for sure. I mean, Willie Gault. I mean, he was a speedster, but wasn't really putting him.
Willie Gault or Alshon Jeffrey.
I forgot about Alshon Jeffrey.
That's the two greatest Bears receivers of all time. So you've never had a franchise quarterback. You've never had a franchise wide receiver.
Nope.
And you wonder why you can't win in a passing league. Yeah, you know what? We'll hire a defensive coordinator from Indianapolis. Got it.
Yeah, still blown away by that. I don't know who that. Yeah.
Well, they play the Atlanta Falcons this week. I was 55-52. I don't know what the reason I brought this game up is. I don't know a more entertaining 1:00 game. What's more entertaining than watching these two guys run down the field?
I can agree with that. I actually think the Bears have a good chance in this one. The only thing is that with the Falcons being at home, they seem to play better at home. But I like what I'm seeing from Fields, at least from the past couple of weeks. He actually got production out of Cole Kmet last week. I was kind of surprised by that. So I think that connection can continue against the Falcons because I've said on here several times, Falcons still can't tackle. They can't cover anybody.
Nobody.
The best thing they have is Grady Jarrett on the defensive line. Other than that, you can do what you want against this defense. So I think the Bears take this one, but I agree. It could end up being 35-30 or something.
Yeah. I think you might see a combined effort between David Montgomery and Justin Fields of 250 rushing yards in this game. I don't think that's out of the question. You could run on the Falcons. Everybody runs on the Falcons. If it gets too out of hand, I mean, it's gonna definitely there'll be a lot of points. I don't know, man. When is it Desmond Ridder time? I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, he stinks too.
He does.
Why are we talking about replacing the quarterback? Why is that the thing that's happening in Atlanta? Marcus Mariota isn't the issue.
He was awful last week. He was awful.
He was. But that was also so all right. So the way I'll tell you not to judge Marcus Mariota in a monsoon was the same way I told you not to judge Trey Lance in a monsoon. It's not fair to judge quarterbacks when they're playing in a damn monsoon.
I think Trey Lance had worse conditions than Mariota did, but I mean,
that was a hurricane, bro.
It was bad conditions, but there's other games where I've seen him, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like that's a rookie throw, not a veteran throw. I just think Mariota has a very small window for his throws, and it definitely downgrades the receiver's ability in Atlanta. I think that what the receivers they have a lot more ability than they've been showing because of who's the signal caller. Drake London's better. I think he has a higher ceiling, and definitely Kyle Pitts, I think, has a higher ceiling as well.
Agreed.
You got to figure out Kyle Pitts, though, because he has like one touchdown catch so far in his career. And a lot of games you'll watch, you forget Pitts is on the field.
Desmond Ridder is not the answer, bro. Desmond Ridder stinks. I'm telling you that right now. I watched him in college. I watched him in Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder stinks, but we got to move on to the 1:00 games that actually mean something. There's one 1:00 game with two teams that have above 500 records. Kyle, do you know what game that is?
Patriots Jets.
These two teams just played 2 weeks ago in New York, and Zach Wilson was seeing ghosts. This game is in New England. He was like he's throwing a ball directly to Patriots. I don't understand how Bill Belichick can scheme a defense to make your quarterback throw the ball direct. Jets quarterbacks throw the ball direct. They have more completions to Patriots than they do to Jets. It's unbelievable. But I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Patriots defense had more receptions in that game than Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kidding. But how is this game open up 2.5 spread? It's up to 3.5 now. Betting public's all over New England. The game's in New England. How did this game open up -2.5? Are you telling me that is it the carryover of beating the Bills? Or are you telling me you truly believe the Jets are a better football team on a neutral site than the New England Patriots after just 2 weeks ago?
It's because there's questions with Mac Jones and the Patriots offense, and we know the Jets defense is the best part of their team. So because of that, I think people are giving the Jets a legitimate chance in this one. But like you said, I can't, vote for Zach Wilson going up against Bill Belichick. I've just seen it too much. The defense is going to frustrate him, and Mac Jones can at least get them enough scoring drives that they can win this, even if it's just Nick Folk having to kick like 3-4 field goals. If Mac Jones can get a touchdown or two, they'll be fine. So I fully think the Patriots take this one, but I guess I can see why the line would be that close.
Okay. What would you say for a game score prediction?
I'd go. I can see like 22-16 because I think Nick Folk's going to have like 4 field goals at least.
Okay.
This is going to be a young defensive-minded coach, talented, versus a very legendary defensive-minded coach that, remember, figured out how to unlock the potential of Lawrence Taylor, okay? And he's done that still through his career, whether he has a good quarterback or not. But I think both of these coaches are going to take away what both teams do best. I don't think the Jets are going to let their Patriots run. They have not. They've only given up 1 rushing touchdown in 3 of the last 4 weeks. And also, I don't think that the Patriots are going to allow the Jets to run. So both coaches are going to make these quarterbacks pass, and it's going to be a field goal fest. It is going to be field goal fest 2022. The people that are going to do the most scoring in that game are going to be the kickers on both sides. Legatron and Nick Folk, it's going to be like a 21-18 game or something like that. Like, you're going to see a lot of clouds and dust, a 5-yard pass here, and getting a scoring position for the field goal and taking it. And it's going to be a field goal fest, in my opinion. That's what we're in store for.
I'll tell you, there's 2 ways to how this game could go. One way goes towards the Jets, one goes towards the Patriots. If the Jets, because I'll tell you what Bill Belichick's probably counting on. He's counting on the fact that they turned the ball over 4 times last time, that they're going to play conservative and play exactly the way Lee Godfrey just described it. If Robert Saleh has the balls to be aggressive in this game and call shots and big plays and allow his quarterback to throw the ball down the field, I think the Jets win this football game. I really believe that, because I think that the Patriots are going to be completely prepared to stop the run. They take your best thing away. That's what they do.
100%.
I don't know if he's got the balls, but Robert Saleh is a very good head coach. And one thing I take from his week 1 loss versus the Baltimore Ravens is I'm keeping receipts. Plus, I want to see that kid get ice cream again. I really do. I love that kid from the Jets. Did you know that whole story? You guys, I told you that story before, right?
The ice cream kid? I don't remember
Sauce
hearing that.
Gardner was talking with a kid in preseason. My dad said every time the Jets win, he's going to take me out to get ice cream. How many times am I going to get ice cream? And Sauce Gardner replies a lot. And then after the Packers game, you see Sauce and another one of the guys on the team remember that interview and goes, forget his name, Jimmy or whatever. Go get some ice cream. Tell your dad to give you some ice cream. And it's been, after they beat the Bills, he got like a hot fudge sundae. It was like this a huge ice cream. But I love that story. It's wholesome. It's really good. But with that being said, if you're asking me to pick who I trust more, Bill Belichick or Zach Wilson, and that's kind of how this game goes, right? Like, is Bill Belichick going to come up with the right game plan to stop Zach Wilson? I'm trusting Bill Belichick. I see a way where the Jets can win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the hoodie, and every time you count the hoodie out, right? Like, beginning of the season, we're talking about how bad the Patriots were. All of a sudden, they look like a very formidable team. Defense looks good. They're running the football again. Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, you get no discounts from facing the Patriots because that's how Bill Belichick runs his team. But what do you
I don't even know how to score it. I don't even know how to give you a score prediction. Can I get away from this game without giving a score prediction? Because I have no idea.
Sure.
Okay, good.
Do you think the quarterback room in the for the Jets is, they want to pass the ball like you said and have the balls running like Zach? Imagine yourself in a workout where there's no safeties around, and you're in tight shorts, and you're gonna just throw a ball up in the air, and everybody's gonna say, "Wow, that was beautiful." I want you to throw the ball just like that. Don't see defenders. Yeah, don't see any defenders. Throw a beautiful spiral, and we'll go get it. Just do that.
Day. That's his pro day.
Yeah.
It's exactly his pro day.
Jumped him like 10 spots in a draft. So
let's move on to the 4:00 games. There is a game of the week. Best game in football this week, and I hate talking about it. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Dallas is 6-3. They're going into Minnesota to take on the Minnesota 8-1 Minnesota Vikings. Coming off wins at Washington, at Buffalo. 2 questions. Is Jay Jettas the best receiver in football?
Sure as hell looks like it. I mean,
I love this debate and this question because it gets people all in their feelings, right? Because everyone has their opinion of who the best receiver in football is. Is Jay Jettas the best receiver in football?
I'm a Diggs guy. That's the only reason why I'd probably say that Diggs over Jefferson, but he's definitely top 3 to me.
Who is your top 5? Just shout out of a cannon.
I'd probably go.
You're a Diggs guy and you're a Patriots fan? I love that. You want to talk about someone that's very comfortable with their Patriots fandom. His top receiver in the NFL
is a Buffalo Bill.
I love it.
But I would go Diggs, probably Kupp, Jefferson, Hill, Adams. Just quickly thinking that would be my 5.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there. Chase is.
I don't think Diggs won. Diggs isn't in my top 5.
Yeah, I might. If he's in my top 5, he's number 5. I'll put it that way. He's holding on. There's definitely an argument to be made for other receivers, 100%. But that he's definitely holding on. But I mean, I could see someone making an argument for it. He's consistent, but Jay Jet, man, Justin Jefferson. I mean, they planned for him. The defensive coordinator planned for him, and he still got off. There's nothing they could do.
Bro, I've never seen a wide receiver dominate a football game the way Justin Jefferson dominated that football game. I've never seen a wide receiver you knew they were going to him. The catches that he was making, double team, like sideline, toe tap, toe swag.
10 catches, 193 yards, and a touchdown. Touchdown when they needed it.
My top 5 wide receivers is going to sound so ridiculous when I say it. I don't mind. I thought about this a little bit. But God, Godfrey, give me your top 5. Shot out of a cannon.
Not necessarily in this order, but Justin Jefferson's definitely on there for me.
No, I want
know-
order. I want order. Don't do this to me.
You want the order?
I want the order. Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson is number one. Have to go him. I mean, he's showing it. I mean, especially after last week, that game definitely affected my opinion, and I just got to go with that. It just has to be. Nobody's killing it like him. I go Tariq Hill number 2, and the reason is because a lot of noise that I even echoed myself is he won't have the same season without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
he's definitely proven that wrong.
He has.
And so I gotta go. Devontae Adams 3. Because listen, it hasn't been pretty, but he's still getting the production done. And
you're going really long without saying that. You're really going really long without saying somebody.
Okay. Well, I'm going Cup 4. Cup's got to be in there. He's hurt.
Of course, he has to be in there.
Yeah, Cup's got to be in there.
I give Cooper Kupp his respect, man. The guy had the triple crown in receiving last year. He won a Super Bowl. And if you want to talk about a receiver that dominated the football game like Justin Jefferson did last week, all you got to do is go back to the Super Bowl last year and watch the way Cooper Kupp dominated the fourth quarter. Now, I don't think it was to the standard that Jefferson had with the catches that he had, but he dominated that football game. The whole world knew that ball was going to Cooper Kupp, and they couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Look at it. Give me your fifth. So
all
you
right.
have Cheetah. All right, so you have Jefferson 1, Cheetah 2, Devontae 3, Cooper Kupp 4.
I'm going to get killed for this because I'm an Eagles fan. I'm going to go on A.J. Brown at 5 right now.
That's wild. That's bad. That's fine. Listen, we all have bad takes. I get it.
Listen, I mean, everybody said he was going to have a limited. He got hurt last game. Everybody said, "Oh, going with Jalen Hurts is your quarterback. You're not going to be good."
5 receivers. I look at all healthy and a neutral playing situation with the same quarterback. Like, what would happen if, I put one if I put them all with Patrick Mahomes, or I put them all with Josh Allen, I put them all with an elite quarterback, and then I put them all with a mid-tier quarterback, who would shine, right? Like, that's what I look at. Because, like, you want to make – I think people are lying to themselves if they think that certain receivers – like Michael Thomas. I knew he was never a top 5 wide receiver. Yeah, it's just with Drew Brees hitting him on slants, he was incredible. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, because I'm about to say him. My number 1 is Jay Jettas. My number 2 is Cooper Kupp. Both of them run every route on the route tree. They're just absolutely incredible with their hands. They can run every route. They're just elite. They're the elite of the elite, those two. I got Jettas 1, Coop 2. My third is, listen, we all say Megatron-esque, right? Megatron-esque. Oh, DK Metcalf, he's next Megatron. No, man. Next Megatron's playing in Cincinnati, and that man's Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, and he was, man, before his injury this year, that last 2 games he played, he was unguardable. And last year in the Super Bowl, unguardable. Last year's playoffs, Jamar Chase is my number 3. Devontae Adams is my number 4. He's still incredible. Absolute, can run every route route on the route tree. And my 5th one is Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins. So notable names missing. I got Stephon Diggs 6. I love Stephon Diggs. I got Jalen Waddle 7.
Mm-hmm.
I got Cheetah 8. I understand I have a little bit of a different list than most people, but I think when you look at Waddle and Hill and you put them in the same system like you have this year, Hill has been more productive. They're paying him $30 million. This is Waddle's 2nd year in the NFL. I'm telling you, Jalen Waddle has the potential to be you. Do you remember Jamar Chase draft? Who went with the next pick was Jalen Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that there's such a debate between those players is because Waddle is so explosive. He gets in and out of routes so good. His hands are incredible. He broke the rookie receptions record. Jalen Waddle is an absolute stud. But we're talking so much about wide receivers. Let's talk about the game. Minnesota Vikings, game of the year versus the Buffalo Bills last week. The one thing I will say, none of that happens. None of that happens if it wasn't for None of that happens if it wasn't for that Buffalo Bills defensive back that tries to make an interception on that Justin Jefferson catch. It's 4th and 16. Knock the ball down, dummy.
Yep.
Game's over.
Mm-hmm.
Game's over. And someone saying Hill that low is disrespectful, but I'm sorry, man. I don't like Tyreek Hill. I openly hate that man. I openly hate on him. He's an awful human being. I will trash him every opportunity I get. He's a bad person, bro. So, yes, I will deny his talent as much as I possibly can, and I will look for any reason to put an elite receiver over him. Just my fella. But who wins the game? How does it happen? What are your thoughts, Kyle Edwards?
It's an interesting one. Because I think I'm gonna go Vikings on this one. I've been talking about the Vikings a lot of this year. I've been one of those who thought they were going to be a playoff team all year. Now they're looking like they're going to win that division probably easily. But that win against Buffalo, yes, Buffalo had their hand in helping them get that win, but that's a game Kirk Cousins and Minnesota finds a way to lose, I think, past years. The fact that they were able to get the win, yes, Justin Jefferson definitely helped a lot. But I just like the way that they closed that game out. Patrick Peterson came up with the interception in the end zone. So big play by him. I'm going Vikings. I mean, I see Brett's prediction. I was kind of thinking along those lines, but I'll go 30-23.
Godfrey.
So I'm going Vikings. Kind of along the echoing the sentiments of what Kyle just said. And I got to tell you, the Vikings have been running the ball well. The Packers, who we thought were dead, gashed the Cowboys on the ground. Trayvon Diggs, not as good as people like to advertise as we always talk about. Justin Jefferson's going to have a day. I see a 31-17 win by the Vikings. I see them getting up early, and I see the Achilles heel getting activated of Dak Prescott of not being able to come back when he's down by 13 points or more. And when he has to press the ball and push it downfield and pass, the defense is going to take advantage of that. And, I just think the Cowboys aren't a good road team. I just think they aren't. And the Vikings, I think they're a little bit different this year. Maybe it's getting rid of Zimmer, but, Cooks looked great. And the Cowboys just got gashed for 200 yards last week.
I don't think there's enough people in here. I think there's more people who should be in here. Because what I'm about to say is going to be wild, and that's okay. I've been wrong before. I was wrong last week with Buffalo, but I will take another egregious shot at the Minnesota Vikings. I love the Dallas Cowboys in this situation. I hate the Cowboys team. I love them in this situation. I think them coming off a road loss at Green Bay, the Vikings coming off 2 emotional road wins coming home, a little bit of an exhale game. I think the Cowboys destroy them. I don't think this game's close. I think the Cowboys go into Minnesota and beat the daylights out of them. 27-13, and the score will not be that close. I'm sprinkling a little on the minus 13.5. I think that you'll think I'm nuts, and that's okay. But I'm sprinkling a little money on that. I'll take them straight up, and I'll take them minus 13.5. It's my best play of the week. I love it. I'm very, very, very high on it. Give me the Dallas Cowboys 27, the Minnesota Vikings 13.
Can I say a quick note about that game last week? The Vikings-Bills game.
Just kidding.
Great game. It was entertaining. But there was a lot of sloppy play in that game. I really do. Josh Allen, great talent. But is that an MVP-like move to fumble that ball in the end zone at that time? Right?
Well, you're absolutely right. People need to be giving Josh Allen more grief for this. I was talking shit to Jordan Jean Lewis in the chat right after the game because he was like, they're not giving enough slack to Josh Allen. And then the week went on and they weren't giving him enough shit. And I'm like, well, maybe that man had a point because Josh Allen played terrible. That fumble was awful.
Terrible. And
that interception was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
First of all, I think the first interception might be worse than the one he threw in overtime.
Yeah. By the way, Bill's got a break on that Gabriel Davis call. that helped extend that game, and then I believe the field goal followed not too long after that, right? That was that a catch? Or I don't
Correct.
think that was a catch.
No,
Do you think it was a catch?
Yeah.
Hit the ground. Hit the ground.
Definitely. I mean, Vikings played a hell of a game to be on the road. That's a game that usually, like Kyle said, that's a game they usually get trashed on. By the way, does this count as a primetime game for Kirk Cousins, or it has to be nighttime, Sunday or Monday?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
425. I wouldn't count that as prime time.
Yeah,
But
neither do I.
All right. Okay.
They were
Yeah,
saying
but-
it in the chat it was prime time, but I don't.
Gotcha.
All right, so prime time, Sunday Night Football. Chiefs at Chargers. Chargers supposed to be getting everybody back. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I'll start with this one. I don't mind. I trust Andy Reid a lot more than I trust Brandon Staley. And I think it's criminal what's happening to Justin Herbert. And I called this out 2 years ago when it was happening with Kyler Murray. It's happening now with Justin Herbert. When you have talent, and a head coach that just can't seem to win, can't seem to make the playoffs, constantly underperforms, blames it on injuries, no next man up mentality, bad coaching decisions all over the place. I don't care. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. I don't know how they're going to win the game. I don't know how. I think Patrick Mahomes is better than Justin Herbert, but I think this is a lower scoring game than the spread indicates. 51.5 points over under. I think it goes way under. I think that both these teams now are playing 6-7 yard football. The Chargers have an absolute lack of offensive line depth, so Justin Herbert's getting the ball out way quicker. Patrick Mahomes does not have the deep threat that he's used to in Tyreek Hill, so they're going 6, 7, 8 yards down the field. I think this is a way more low-scoring game than what you would expect on Sunday Night Football. I think the Chiefs win this one 23-17. I think the under clears by 11 points.
I can see that. Only because something I'm noticing with the Chiefs is that their lack of running game at times can really hurt them. I mean, we saw them. I mean, they have Pacheco or whatever, but he's not a top tier running back. Didn't they even try Kadarius Toney back there a couple of times?
Who would you start at running back for them? Pacheco, Edwards-Helaire, or McKinnon?
Pacheco.
Yeah, probably Pacheco.
Listen, he's young. Andy Reid makes you earn your playing time in practice.
Bumbled recently, though. Andy Reid don't like
That's
that.
true.
Yeah,
It's
true, but they came right back to him after that, and I was wondering
did.
if that was going to happen. I was like, oh, man, he's going to be in the doghouse, but they came back to him after that. 16 for 82 last week, Pacheco had. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, I mean, people are cutting him in fantasy football, and I've always said he was too small of a guy. He didn't work out. And think about it from a cap perspective, all right? You can't be paying running backs big money. You're not going to pick up the option on Edwards-Helaire in a year after this. 5th round pick. This is how the Chiefs are going to operate. That kid could run. He's just got to grasp the Andy Reid system. You're going to see more. I just think he has the most ability out of all the backs. Jarrett McKinnon is holding up, and he's their third down passing specialist, but that's about it. I mean, it's Pacheco all day long, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the Edwards-Helaire thing, it seemed like when they drafted him, they had high hopes for him, and that went by the wayside really quickly. And I'm almost surprised to see
what
him
the
in
funny
the
thing
game
about
now.
that is, Kyle? Kyle, you bring up a great point. You know what the funny thing about that draft is? Clyde Edwards-Helaire was. Do you remember where he came from in college? I think you do. You're very well in tune.
I know this.
LSU, right?
LSU, yeah. Do you know what team he was on?
National
So,
championship team.
Burrow
Right?
team. With
Burrow, Jefferson, Chase. Bro, I tell you right now, Godfrey could run through those holes.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I might
He's a
trip.
first round draft pick because you had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And Joe Burrow was slinging the ball. And they're like, oh, we can't get beat for 70 yards. Let me just hand the ball to Edwards-Helaire. And you could literally drive a bus through the holes that he was running through.
They'll trade Edwards-Helaire in the offseason. Totally see it happening.
I don't know what you're going to get for him.
I'll look at something.
Running backs are a dime a dozen in the NFL to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you look at the Rams. Rams said they love them coming out. Like, hey, we'll give you, if you give us a 5th rounder. But like, yeah, we still have one of those. Rams might do it. But I don't know. I see. I have a different opinion. I think that the Chargers pull off the upset despite Brandon Staley. Um, you know, people are gonna say I'm crazy on this, but I'm gonna tell you. Last time they played, Herbert had the hurt ribs. Right. What I know about Herbert and the
They got hurt
Chiefs.
in that game.
Yeah, he got hurt in that game. He brings it for the Chiefs every time they played. And he seems to
Except that
step it
pick
up.
six.
He did have the pick six. It wasn't his best game. And I'm only stating this is an addendum to my pick. This is if they get Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back. If they have to roll with Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, and Bradley Bade, whatever his stinking name is, practice squad wide receiver, they will lose that game. Yes.
I think Mike Williams
100%.
come back too. I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams playing this week.
Yeah, if they get both of them back, I'll take the points. I'll take the Chargers. I'll go for the upset. In LA, not that it's a huge home field advantage, but I will tell you that
it's not at all, and that's
At all.
weird.
it's not. But you don't have to travel, so it's a little less wear on the players. I would definitely listen. The Chiefs can be had. I mean, the Colts beat them. Let's think about that. The recipe to beat the Chiefs, and we've seen this a couple of times with them, is if you run the ball on them, which they'll be willing to do, and they could be had. I really do think they could be had. So, I mean, they won the game. They did what they had to do against the Titans, but it was really close. Derrick Henry's light years better than most running backs, but I'm going with the Chargers here. I wouldn't be afraid to take this as a possible upset.
Okay. Let's move on to the Monday Night Football game. You got the dumpster fire that is the Arizona Cardinals. They just came off a win, though. But Godfrey, you said earlier that the Rams won that game without Matt Stafford. That's not what happened.
No. I wouldn't say that. I was saying, when would I say that?
On the Birds Deep.
No. I was saying I was all over that game when Matt Stafford wasn't out, betting on the Cardinals to win because their lack of depth. Like, if you have money, your backup quarterback's not John Walford. If you have draft picks, your backup quarterback's not John Walford. And when they said Kyler Murray was going to be out, I didn't even think twice. I'm like, Colt McCoy versus John Walford? Yeah, I'm taking it. That's my backup versus him. And I jumped on every possible bet that was out there against the Rams because they don't have any depth, man, and they're thin. They're thin. And so the Cardinals, they won one. They put it on them. But this is going to be a different situation. That's for sure. I don't know. I don't know. This game is the 49ers are going to kick their ass. I don't know what to say. So they're going to kick their ass.
I couldn't agree with you more. Kyler Murray's already said he's playing. I think the 49ers defense is just too much. CMC. Yeah, I don't see a way where the 49ers lose this game. I think it becomes a bit of a snooze fest. I think the 49ers blow them out. I'll go 49ers 29, Cardinals 12.
Yeah, I like the Niners 32-13. Warzone 2 came out, so we know Kyler Murray's been busy.
So my last question I would have for you guys is we got to talk about the Eagles for a second. No longer undefeated. I'd like to get your opinion. We just talked about the Eagles for an hour on Birds Deep, but I would like to get your opinion on Monday Night Football, what your thoughts are on the Eagles Commanders game from an outsider's perspective, because I love to listen to what other people see when they watch that game, because I know how I seen it as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I mean, watching that, I wasn't one of those who thought the Eagles were going to go 17-0. That's just too tough to do in the NFL, and especially with a kind of a young group like the Eagles, the pressure to go undefeated week in and week out, having to hear about that, it can weigh on you pretty easily. Taylor
AJ Brown referenced that. AJ Brown referenced that.
Yeah. Heineke, he just gets the Commanders to play better than Carson Wentz can ever do. And I found it funny at the end of the game, they kept talking about Wentz being healthy. If I'm Washington, I don't care. I stick with Heineke the rest of the season. But I wouldn't panic as an Eagles fan because it's just one loss. The only troubling thing would be the Commanders' ability to run on the Eagles. And then the next few games is quite a bit of teams that can run the ball and have pretty good running backs. Now they did go out and sign with Linville Joseph and Dominican Sue, so that should help a little bit there. But yeah, I wouldn't panic. I mean, I always saw the Eagles being like a 13-4, 14-3 type of team. So I think they're clearly on pace for that. I wouldn't panic at all.
I'm not panicking. What I found really interesting, Godfrey? He talked about that game, broke it down, didn't say one thing about the officials. Damn Eagles fans, bro. I'm an Eagles fan, die hard. I was mad at the officiating Monday night. I didn't think it was good. But I will say again, just like I said on Birds Deep, just like I said on Wire to Wire, you cannot allow the Washington Commanders to be in a game in which a bad call could dictate the game in your house. And by the way, one of the funniest things, and I think this is actually a miss on a counterfeit green. I almost used it. On on Tuesday morning, the Commanders said that Carson Wentz is not ready to play yet. He's not healthy. Heineke will start again Sunday.
As well he should.
And I'll tell you right now, that is the same thing that the Dallas Cowboys did when Cooper Rush was 4-0, and they wanted to see how long it could go with Dak Prescott, with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something right now. They play Houston this week. They win again. They're 6-5. Wentz won't be ready again. It'll be an injury. He's not ready yet.
Hangnails are tough. Tough injuries.
Yeah. I just think it's pretty entertaining. I don't think the Eagles should panic at all either. I think their roster is the second best in the NFL. I think they have the best team in football when it comes to overall roster. But, there's just so much stake I put into the quarterback position. And I love Jalen Hurts. He plays great, but you're not going to get me to tell you he's better than Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I can't do that. So with that stake that you have in the quarterback position, I think they're the second or third best roster in the NFL overall. But you go position for position, there's not many teams that match up better with the Eagles. So midseason awards, real quick. Just shout out to Cannon. We got 7 minutes left. I want to talk about some midseason. Who's your midseason MVP?
I feel like it's probably going to come down to Mahomes only because he's always in the conversation. I think Lamar Jackson has a good chance to win it only because the Ravens, the rest of their schedule, they should be able to rack up a lot of wins, and I think it's definitely going to help them out a lot.
Yeah, but you're projecting. I want to know who your midseason MVP is. Because your midseason MVP can't be Lamar.
Right.
I follow.
It would have been
The Ravens schedule down the stretch is they're a minus 350 favorite to win that division.
Yeah. Well, their toughest game is the final week against the Bengals.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I guess midseason, probably would have been Josh Allen before these past 2 weeks. I'd probably go Mahomes.
Godfrey?
Man, I hate being put in this position after this Eagles game, and I would have never thought that I'd be even uttering these words last year. If you listen to the Birds Deep podcast, but Jalen Hurts has played a hell of a half of the season. He's got to be in the conversation.
True. Yeah.
I hate that I'm an Eagles fan. I'm making this pick because I'm telling you, for those that know me, Gene knows I'm not a homer, but I'm giving MVP to Jalen Hurts right now, and I don't think it's.
Bro, stop, Jeremy. Jeremy, stop. Jeremy, knock it off. Jeremy, stop.
Sauce Gardner, Kenneth Walker.
It's toss. Stop putting Aiden in that conversation.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Hutchinson in that conversation.
He's not. He's not third. He's not second. Stop, Jeremy.
But I'm Jalen Hurts is my MVP for
Jalen Hurts is my MVP also. Offensive rookie year, defensive rookie year, since Jeremy put it out there. His offensive rookie year is Kenneth Walker. Mine is Dameon Pierce. I have Dameon Pierce over Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker's right there. It would have been Breece Hall running away with it. He didn't get injured.
Such a shame. Poor kid, man.
Yeah. But defensive rookie, it's Sauce Gardner.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
Sauce. I'm with you on Sauce too. There's just no. I think he's the clear front runner for that reward right now. There's no doubt about it.
Coach of the year.
I'll try to think of the dude in Minnesota.
I was literally about to say Kyle is Googling the coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
I can tell you his name.
Yeah, what's his name?
Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell.
It's either O'Connell or probably.
I remember it was Kevin O'Connell because Godfrey constantly makes fun of him, saying he took a piss next to Sean McVay
in the urinal. Yeah, so he got hired. It was on his resume. Same thing for any other guy. He's like, "Oh, you peed next to Sean McVay? You got a job. You're in." So, Brandon Staley, that's how he got it too. Yep. So, but my coach of the year, I'm going Robert Saleh. I mean, I just don't see how, the Jets had a great draft, but I mean, I can't realistically believe anybody would say to you, I had them 6-3 at this point in the season. They lost their quarterback. They had to go to Joe Flacco. They lost their running back. They've played great defense. I'm going Robert Saleh, coach of the year.
I'm saying, yes, he has an interception. Come on, Jeremy, stop. Stop. He's trying to make arguments for stop.
Hutchinson, yeah.
I'm staying in the same state. Give me Brian Dable.
Fair.
Bro, what he's done with that team, and you know what I respect about Brian Dable more than anything? There was reports coming out of New York in June and July that Dable was looking to get rid of Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay because they weren't brought into the system.
Yeah.
Just didn't want to show up and play.
Yeah, as a new coach, you got to establish culture as a new coach.
And for all the one possession victories the Giants have had, they're down 20-10 at half versus the Packers in London. They were down 10 points or more versus the Baltimore Ravens at home. They were down versus the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road. They were down so many games and just found ways to win games. Saquon Barkley, resurgence. Daniel Jones has been career low in turnovers, which has always been his Achilles heel.
Yep.
Man, gotta give him all the credit in the world. Gotta give Brian Dable all the credit in the world.
Hell of a
Kayvon
coach,
Thibodeau's looked great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, Dable is.
Yeah, you're the only one that has him tied that's not in the city of Detroit, Jeremy. Like, I think that you being in that Michigan area is swaying your opinion. Just look up the defensive player to your odds. You know what? I'll do it right now. We got 2 minutes. I'm going to do it up. Any final thoughts from you, gentlemen, before I give the
I'm about to say, Brett bringing up Derek, Stingley Jr. in Houston?
Yeah,
that's probably a better, argument than Aiden Hutchinson at this point. But, final thoughts, ready to watch the game tonight. Another great show with you guys, and appreciate the chat, even Jeremy with his Aiden Hutchinson take. But live chat, and I loved it.
I got it right here. I'm pulling it up right now. Come on. Season awards. Mahomes is the favorite to win MVP, with Allen, Tua, and Hurts being tied for second. Justin Jefferson, Offensive Player of the Year. Michael Parsons, Defensive Player of the Year. Geno Smith, Comeback Player of the Year with Saquon second. Kenneth Walker won, Damian Pierce 2 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ahmad Sauce Gardner 1, -200. Tariq Woolen 2 at +300. And Aiden Hutchinson 3 at +1100. Then you got Jack Jones, absolute stud from New England.
Yep.
Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Lloyd, Trevon Walker, Kyle Hamilton, George Karlaftis.
Yeah. My final thoughts is I think everybody wants to crown the Bills as the best team in the AFC, and for a while that was the case. And last week let me know it's not a closed book. It's not a slam shut that they're the best team. It's not. And a week ago, people were saying that after they beat the Chiefs, they were ready to anoint them. Nah, man. You brought up Brian Dable, and you have to ask yourself, is Josh Allen playing a little bit more sloppy this year because Brian Dable is not on the coaching staff anymore? And that's it. And, you're bringing up how Daniel Jones has condensed his turnovers. Well, Josh Allen has increased his turnovers year over year.
Factual statement. I'm about to turn on some Amazon Prime, and I know you guys are out there too. It's been a great show, Pregaming Pigskin. That's my man, D. Godfrey. Kyle Edwards on the ones and twos. I'm Gene Walsack. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care.
Peace.
All right. See you guys.